Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is a little bit different because the books that I am going to be talking about technically don't exist, or at the very least, I don't think they exist. So I'm sure you can already tell by the title of this video, but today I want to talk to you all about cozy mysteries that I wish existed. Now, as you know, if you are familiar with the cozy mystery genre, basically there's a series out there spanning nearly every theme or topic that you can think of, and that's one of the things that I love most about them, because if you have an interest in a particular subject matter, chances are there is a cozy mystery set around that theme or that location, which spans anything from like cheeses to bookshops to coastal cities or Ireland, anything and everything basically. But I guess there is a little bit of a caveat, because there technically aren't cozy mysteries about every single topic, which is what I want to talk about today. Because as a fan of cozy mysteries, there are some cozy mysteries or some themes, I'll get into the specifics about it later, that I actually wish existed. Now, full disclosure, when I was coming up with this list, I tried to look up to see if these existed and I couldn't find any, hence why they stayed on this list. However, if by some chance the concepts that I'm about to talk about do exist, please, please, please let me know in the comments below, because I would absolutely love to read them, hence why I'm making an entire video on them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the books that I wish existed but technically don't. Okay, so the first cozy mystery that I want to talk about that doesn't exist but I wish existed is technically surrounding a location, in the sense to where I wish there were a cozy mystery set in Svalbard. And if you've never heard of that, it is a small island set in the Norwegian Arctic. And the reason, I know it's super random, but the reason that I thought about that is I basically watched this woman on YouTube who chronicles her life living in Svalbard, which is a small town. So already that's like cozy mystery element number one, the whole small town setting. But one of the interesting things about it is not only the geographical location, but kind of like the pros and cons that go along with it. For example, during their winter time, there's like 100 days or more of night where they don't see the sun at all. Now, obviously that can be really depressing to some people, but in this woman's video, she talks a lot about kind of how to handle that and how the people obviously go about their lives, because clearly you can't hibernate for 100 and some odd days. But I just think that it would be really interesting, because you've got that cozy factor with the cold weather and the snow and the remoteness, and again, it's set in a small town, so I think that would absolutely be something fun to read about. Okay, so continuing with locations, another cozy mystery series that I would be interested in reading is one that is set in the Midwest in the kind of late 1800s prairie era. Is prairie era a thing? Anyway, basically, if Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote a cozy mystery, that's basically what I was thinking of. I'm sure you guys have heard of Little House on the Prairie and all of that has to offer, and I thought it would be super interesting and fun to have a cozy mystery set in that time. You know, if you're familiar with the Little House on the Prairie, you kind of know the trials and tribulations, and also kind of the small town, just because, simply put, there weren't really as many people then as there are now, but also the Midwestern location that you get, you know, with everybody having a farm and life being simple. To kind of turn that into a mystery setting, I think would be fascinating. I don't quite know how people's deaths would come about, but you know, that's not up to me. That's up to the author to figure out. These are just books that I really want to read, and I think that would be another fun concept. Okay, so this next one, I really actually hope that this exists, because it seems like it should, but again, when I was doing my research, I couldn't find anything. So if for some reason you know of a cozy mystery that has this, please let me know. But it's basically, if there were a cozy mystery where the amateur sleuth is a geisha, oh my goodness, that would be absolutely so intriguing to read about. I think that ancient Japanese history and culture is super fascinating. There's just so many layers behind it. Of course, I am only not even semi, but like barely familiar with the idea of geishas, obviously having read historical fiction books and watched certain movies about it, but I have seen enough to kind of let my imagination run away with it, and I just think that having a geisha as an amateur sleuth would be incredible, basically, because not only would you be getting the kind of history behind it, which I think is super fascinating. Oh, okay, so let me back up. So I guess the cozy mystery with the geisha can either be historical or present tense. To be honest, I'm not sure if geishas are still as prevalent as they were back then, but for the sake of this video, if they were kind of set in older times, I think having the history would be an interesting facet. Also kind of seeing how she navigates being not just a geisha, but a woman trying to solve crimes. And obviously you kind of have to investigate and insert yourself into places that you otherwise shouldn't be. That would also be another interesting level. And then of course, kind of the like mundane stuff, which is the stuff that I really glom onto, which is all about the ins and outs of being a geisha. So like how she puts her makeup on, how she kind of goes about her day and her routine, all of that day-to-day stuff is really what I love about cozy mystery themes, because you get a glimpse into those jobs and those particular occupations. So that's exactly why I think geishas would be an interesting choice. Okay. So I keep saying each of these would be more interesting than the last, but I swear this one also would be really fascinating. And to be honest, I feel like a cozy mystery like this may already exist, and I just didn't look deep enough or hard enough. So again, if it does and you've heard of it, please let me know. But I think it would be so fun to have a cozy mystery that is set at an auction house. Now that can be a small town or a small time auction house that's much more local, deals with things kind of on a smaller level, or it can be a big auction house like Sotheby's or is Christie's one? I think so, but anyway, it could be either of those. I just think it would be super fun to have something set in an auction house, because you can go so many places with that. You can do so many things, because basically the nature of auction houses, you've got trades coming, you've got different people and characters coming in and out, kind of the flavor of the week with you know, different items and historical objects and so many vendettas, because the objects can be priceless or have a big price on them. It would be super interesting, especially because you would have to come up with some, well, not just some, but all of the all of the motives would have to be really creative, and more than just like, oh, he killed this guy because he wanted this object that is valuable or something like that. That would get old quick, and I would want to see all of the creative ways that we have the different murders and the motives behind them. But yeah, an auction house sounds super fun, and like, man, do those exist? Am I missing something? I don't know, but if you're an author and you write cozy mysteries, make this a thing. Okay, so another setting that I think would be absolutely charming for a cozy mystery would be a cozy mystery set in a tiny home community. Now, I've done multiple videos kind of semi-recently where I talked about my fascination with tiny homes and van lives and all of that kind of stuff. And there are series out there like the Tanya Knapp's Campers and Criminals series, I know takes place at kind of like a mobile home community, but this is something that is a little bit more specific because it's strictly tiny homes. Now, you know, the whole tiny home movement is popular these days, so I'm kind of surprised that there's not already a cozy out there about it, but I think that would also be fun because you get, as usual, like a variety of characters. It's gonna be that small town feel because it's going to be a small community, so you're going to have your quirky cast of characters. Again, the descriptions, I love tiny homes, so like just talking about how everybody kind of arranges their home to make it fit all of their stuff, and maybe what the lay of the land looks like. I'm imagining something where it's in like a coastal town somewhere in a sleepy little beachside community, or somewhere tucked in the mountains. I mean, you really could go anywhere with it, but like the descriptions would have to be on point, which is really why I would be excited to read this. Yeah, I just think tiny homes would be so fun. As far as like the amateur sleuth I don't really care. I guess it can be like the manager, or maybe one of the characters moves to the tiny home community and you kind of see things through her eyes. Or maybe the series doesn't have a specific amateur sleuth and we kind of like bounce around. I don't know. Again, these are just ones. I just think that it would be fun if it was set in a tiny home community. So this last one is 100% based on the things that I watch on my off time, which is to say, I think that it would be so fun if there were an amateur sleuth who were a travel vlogger. On YouTube, I follow a lot of channels that are travel related, and they are typically through a single person's eyes, so they're a travel vlogger. And I think that would be a fun thing to do. So this is not cozy in the traditional sense to where it's set in a specific small town, because obviously if your job is to do like travel vlogging or documenting, you're going to be jet setting in different places, and that's totally okay. So for this one, you would be kind of hopping around to different places, some of them like wildly popular, some of them exotic locales that nobody's ever heard of. But this would mostly also be flavor of the week, where our travel vlogger, we see it through their eyes obviously, but like serendipitously everywhere they go, it's kind of like Scooby-Doo. They stumble upon a mystery and they just can't help inserting themselves and trying to come to the bottom of it. And I'm just thinking like there could be a certain scene where they're going over their video footage as they're editing their video, and they like see something that they accidentally caught on camera, and that can kind of like spiral into investigating why this person was doing something or what this object, I mean, you could go really any direction with it, but I think it would be really fun. So this would more so be focused on the particular person, but we would get the descriptions of the different locales, which works out perfectly because you can kind of do like armchair travel, since they are going to different places, and then also have an amateur sleuth that you see things through when you get their perspective. To me, I guess they would most likely be kind of on the younger side, only because most of the travel vloggers that I watch are kind of in their late 20s to mid 30s. I mean, I guess that's not that young, depending on how old you are, I don't know, but really their age doesn't matter to me. I just think that kind of jet setting around the world and solving mysteries is very Scooby-Doo, very 21st century millennial. And so to like kind of combine those two together would be a really fun time. Okay, so there you have it. That was a roundup. Don't get me wrong, I could have made this list like 3 times as long, and to be honest, I deleted a whole bunch of stuff because I'm like, I don't want this video to be too long. But those are kind of my top ideas of cozy mystery themes or subject matters that I wish existed. Again, I looked them up. I didn't do like hours of research, but I looked them up and I couldn't find anything. But if I was remiss and you know of any cozy mysteries that feature this subject matter or these amateur sleuths, definitely let me know. But yeah, what do you guys think? What would be on your like cozy mystery dream list of ideas or people or locations that you think would make cool series? I mean, they're making cozy mysteries about any and everything, so I really feel like it just really opens up a world of possibilities, because there have been cozies that I wouldn't even think are a thing, and yet not only are they a thing, but they've got like a 15+ backlist. So really anything goes, you know? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and in the meantime, happy reading, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!